Hey, what's up? So you've got the Canon M6 Mark II, and now you're wondering, should you be upgrading to the new R7? Well, that's exactly what I did. Let's take a look at 15 upgrades that make the R7 worth getting. The M6 Mark II is an ultra-compact camera. It's easy to carry and take everywhere. That's why I got it in the first place. The R7 though is only slightly heavier. It's beefier and has a larger grip, so it's much more comfortable to hold in the hand. Even with larger lenses, like the 24-105 f4L, which is my daily driver. I've got a dedicated video on that lens paired with the R7. I'll link it down below. The SD card slot on the M6 Mark II is located at the bottom of the camera. Now that means every time you want to access the cards and the camera is mounted on, for example, a tripod, you'll need to detach it. On the R7, the SD card slots, yes, it has two of them, are located on the right side of the camera, so they're always within your reach. This might seem like a minor thing. On the M6, the ports are spread across both the left and the right side of the camera. On the R7, they're all located on the left side of the camera. That means it's much easier to connect it to a gimbal. And all the ports have separate covers too. Well, this is an easy one. The R7's VARI-ANGLE screen beats the flip-up screen on the M6. I really take a whole lot more vertical shots now that I can actually see what I'm shooting. And the screen is not obstructed when you have a shotgun mic mounted on top of the camera as well. No surprises here too. The LPE6 NH battery in the R7 lasts much longer than the LPE17 one found on the M6, and actually that's the one found on the R10 as well. It almost feels like you get double the 4K recording time on the R7. And you can swap the batteries even when the R7 is mounted on a tripod, which just wasn't possible with the smaller body of the M6. Canon has finally added dedicated environments for photography and video. You can set up to 6 custom modes, 3 for photography and 3 for video, so you can easily switch between the settings you've saved earlier. I've got a dedicated video on that and I'll link it down below. There's no real comparison here. Yes, the M6 does have dual pixel autofocus and it works great, but the dual pixel autofocus version 2 on the R7 is light years ahead. In fact, it's really similar to what you find on the flagship Canon R3, with people, animal and vehicle detection in all focus modes. And unlike the M6, autofocus does work in 120 FPS slow motion on the R7 as well. By the way, if you want more videos on the R7, then please don't forget to subscribe. It would really help me out. The M6 can shoot 4K video up to 30p without a crop. The R7 can shoot up to 4K fine, which is oversampled from 7K. You also get 4K 60 without a crop. Now, this mode might be line skipped, but I think the quality is still top-notch, and I use it all the time for shooting B-roll. The R7 also has C-Log 3 at 10-bit 422, so if you're into video, it's a really easy choice. The R7's got in-body image stabilization, whereas the M6 just doesn't. You can get up to 7 stops of stabilization when you use a lens that also has an image stabilizer. That allows for very smooth handheld video shots. And you can also keep your shutter speed quite a bit lower than on the M6, so it's really handy for those low light shots. On the M6, you have to assign a specific button in order to get the depth of field preview when you're taking pictures. Now, some people might prefer this, but I always want to see the separation I would get in a photo before I press the shutter. On the R7, it's real easy to set up depth of field in real time for both the EVF and the back screen. There's an optional EVF for the M6 Mark II. I actually never got one because I felt it looked weird, and it was also quite expensive. The EVF is built in on the R7. Cool! I actually used it quite a bit, especially in direct sunlight. This is probably subjective too, but I really prefer the button layout on the R7. The buttons are a bit larger and they're easier to find and easier to press than on the M6. I really like the new joystick wheel combo as well. Yes, the M6 has got 3 dials and the R7 only has 2, but I don't mind using the ISO button or programming the RF lens dial. This might sound like a gimmick, but who doesn't want to have a straight horizon in their photos and their videos? The auto level is something that I used quite a bit and to my surprise, liked a lot. And you can always turn it off when you don't want it. Just like on the R3, you're able to customize the quick menu on the R7. You're able to move things around and display only the settings that you want to see there. This makes everything a lot easier and a lot quicker to access. You can't do this on the M6 because it's not available, and actually I didn't see this on the R6 and the R5 as well. Last, but definitely not least, the RF mount. Now, the EFM mount did have a couple of really good lenses. But let's face it, not much was happening for it anymore. It's much better to invest your money in a lens system that has a lot of R&D going for it and that will be supported for the next decade. Maybe we'll even see a couple of third-party lenses in the near future too. Fingers crossed, Canon. Now finally, I feel like I have a clear upgrade path. If I decide to get another body, like a full frame, I already have the lenses. So in the end, I really believe that the R7 is a solid upgrade over the M6 Mark II. You get a bunch of hardware and software improvements that will make your work better and more efficient. Now that's it for this one. If you like what you see, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.